Hey everyone, it's Jason Dorsey. Just spoke here at EO Nashville, packed house, so much energy, so exciting to be here. And what I wanted to share with you is kind of a quick recap of what we covered today. So the first was that generations are clues, but not a box, but they're really powerful, predictive clues grounded in data that allow you to faster connect with and influence people of generations, which is so important whether your business is 100 million or you just barely passed a million. Really, really important to know these generational clues and the trends that drive them that make them so predictive, which was a lot of fun to share. Things like parenting and technology, mobility, and so forth. And then we did a deep dive today into millennials, really demything a lot of the millennial conversation. So much of what is said about millennials, my generation, is not true. One of the biggest insights was knowing that the millennial generation is splitting into two different generations. And in fact, the group most offended by millennials acting entitled are actually other millennials who do not feel entitled, which probably explains a lot of what you've seen. Millennials are in the workforce, we're outspending every other generation, but we do bring some differences, let's say, to the world of work in terms of communication, life stage, and so forth. But we can make amazingly loyal, talented, hardworking employees if you understand us and know how to engage us. We also talk about Gen X, the glue of the workforce. They really hold millennials and baby boomers together. Gen X are great managers, great leaders. They're into the data and the details. Gen X is so incredibly important and in a really key time in their career. Then we talked about baby boomers, you know, the big generation that's the most influential still in the workforce. Control access to capital, they're in positions of power. They really want to see that you're working hard, you know. And then we talked about Gen Z, the new generation. The oldest members of Generation Z are now 22 years old. Can you believe that? 22, wow. And what's even more shocking is Gen Z does not remember 9/11. To them, it's always been history. And in our new Gen Z work, we're doing all this research on Gen Z at our research center, the Center for Generational Kinetics. We've uncovered that Gen Z has all these aftershocks from the Great Recession. They're fiscally conservative. They think they have to work hard in order to get promoted and build a career. They want to attend colleges that are less expensive to graduate with less college debt. So now that we've talked about the different generations, and you probably have 3, 4, maybe even 5 generations in your workplace or in your customer base, what are 2 or 3 things you can leave here and do right away? Let me just give you a few that I shared today. We shared a ton, but here's 2 or 3 that I think you can put to use right away. Number 1, the first 2 sentences in your job description determine whether or not people read the rest of your job description. It's a big insight that we've uncovered. So make those first 2 sentences really stand out. That way when they're scanning through Indeed or Monster or wherever else, that you actually grab their attention, you'll get more people to read it, and you'll ultimately get more applicants, which is what you want to have more selection. Second thing, the first day at work heavily influences whether every generation will stay long term. So make that first day outstanding, whether that's having a team member be a coach for a week, just, hey, you can come to me if you have any questions, someone who's not their supervisor, having business cards already ready for them when they show up, or at least telling them, hey, you go meet so-and-so when you get there, and they'll greet you, they'll show you around, they'll welcome you. It reduces anxiety, brings up confidence, and everybody has a better first day. And then third, last one is, make sure to deliver ongoing communication or ongoing feedback. One of the things we found, particularly with millennials and Gen Z, is they want more frequent feedback. It could be 2 minutes every 2 weeks, but the idea that we need to wait 3 months or even a year is just too long for the feedback. Or as I like to say, if you only give annual reviews, change the name. Call them exit interviews. But the good news is we don't actually quit. We just stop going. So please, when you go back and you watch this video, share it with your team. Number 1, make those job descriptions really good. Write the first 2 sentences. Number 2, make the first day welcoming, maybe even unforgettable. And then number 3, give that quick hit feedback so people feel connected. You'll drive retention and engagement without having to spend an extra nickel. This is Jason Dorsey from the Center for Generational Kinetics. Thrilled to be here at EO Nashville. Thank you so much for what you do.